No, no, yes. That's the one, that's it, the iPhone 12 mini. For a lot of people, the biggest draw of the 2020 iPhone lineup is the smallest phone, the iPhone 12 mini, and it looks like it has it all. It seems kind of like the perfect iPhone, which raises the question, should you wait for the iPhone 12 mini? In this video, I'm going over the top 5 reasons to wait for the 12 mini, and also 5 reasons why you shouldn't bother and you should just pick up another iPhone because you do not want to make a mistake. Now in this video, I'm talking all about the iPhone 12 mini and how it compares to the iPhone 12, the 12 Pro, and the 12 Pro Max. But if you want to hear some other arguments on why you should go for the 12 Pro, or maybe if you should step all the way up to the 12 Pro Max, we're gonna link to some videos up here and down below that'll kind of introduce you to the other iPhones and why you might want to go with those. But in this video, I'm going small. I'm telling you why the 12 mini seems, the more and more I look into it, like the best iPhone you could get this year for a lot of people. So for many potential iPhone first-time buyers or iPhone upgraders this year, the big allure of the lineup is, again, the small phone, the iPhone 12 mini, coming in at a whopping 5.4-inch screen size and a perfect one-handed form factor. This phone seems like the small iPhone many people have long been waiting for. It's the smallest flagship iPhone we've seen really since the iPhone 8. Now hold on, before you comment, yes, the iPhone SE exists, don't forget about that one. I'm not forgetting. That also has a 4.7-inch display. It's a small phone, almost like the exact same kind of body size to the iPhone 12 mini. I'm not going to touch on that too much in this video. We'll link again to a video down below that goes over the 12 mini versus the SE, but I really don't think it's a fair comparison because the iPhone 12 mini, for its higher price tag, gives you so many more features than what you get on the iPhone SE. The two phones are kind of almost in two different classes of their own. The SE does exist and it's a small phone, but it's a different option, it's a lower cost alternative, and I think the 12 mini is much more of a 2020 flagship iPhone than the SE. So the SE exists, but for the smallest iPhone for this video, we're talking all about the 12 mini. So let's talk about one of the 12 mini's biggest features right off the bat, and that is the smallest screen, and I'm not gonna get tired of doing those references. It's gonna be one of the biggest pros and cons to the phone, something that's gonna immediately draw you to the phone, or something that's going to keep you very far away. And that 5.4-inch display for many people is like the perfect size. It's easy to use with one hand, it's gonna give you enough screen real estate to really utilize whatever app, video, game you happen to have open, and it's great. For a lot of people, the 6.1-inch iPhone, though I think it's still considered by Apple to be the default option, the choice that most people are happy with, it was just still too big. Even the 5.8-inch version of the XS and the 11 Pro was still, again, just too big for many people. They want to go even smaller, thus why the 12 mini is just so enticing. And something you're gonna notice is going to kind of start to become a theme as we get into it, is you're not really making a lot of compromises with this phone. You are missing out on some features, which we'll get to, but for a lot of things, you're getting pretty much exactly what you'd get on the larger, more expensive iPhones, just a little, pared down, a little smaller to fit the new form factor. One of those being the Super Retina XDR display. It's an OLED panel, so you kind of know what to expect. Bright, beautiful, vibrant colors, deep, inky blacks. It's going to give you a great viewing experience for apps, for games, for videos. It's going to be a fantastic display and a really good upgrade over the LCD technology we got in other phones, specifically what we have in the iPhone SE. This is basically the same display you're getting in the iPhone 12, and even pretty close to what you'd get in the higher-end iPhone 12 Pro. You are going to get a slightly smaller resolution on the 12 mini, but you also are going to get more pixels per inch to go with that as well. So you're getting a fantastic display on this small iPhone. And because that display is smaller, and because the phone is smaller, the body of the phone, you're going to get a phone that is a lot more pocketable, a lot more portable, something that's easier to slip in and out of a purse or a pocket. It's just going to make your life a little bit easier and is going to be, again, perfect to use with one hand. If you're a fan of small iPhones, I think this is really going to be the one you've been waiting for. But there is a flip side to this I also want to discuss as well. If you're someone who likes to get the very most out of your phone's display, if you want the very most screen real estate to take advantage of, if you watch a lot of movies, you play a lot of games, you like to see a large, real big preview of exactly what you're taking a photo or video of, you're not going to get that on the iPhone 12 mini. It's just has a smaller display. I don't think it's a huge knock. I don't think it's something that's going to scare a lot of people off, but just keep in mind, if you are someone who really likes a large display, the 12 mini is probably not going to be the phone for you. The 12 Pro, or probably more likely the 12 Pro Max, is going to be what you're going to want to go for. Obviously, I think you kind of know at this point what kind of phone display you like, but just keep in mind the 5.4-inch display, it's a smaller display. A pro for many people, but for some might be a con and a turnoff of the 12 mini. And following that theme of no compromises, the internals of this phone is exactly the same of what you're gonna get on the iPhone 12, and even a lot of similarities with the higher end 12 Pro. Powering this phone is the A14 Bionic, Apple's latest and greatest silicon that is powerful, that is efficient, that's versatile, capable. It is the best chip that Apple currently makes for its flagship iPhones. You also have 4 gigs of RAM in here. You have all the same 5G capabilities, both sub-6 and millimeter wave. This phone functionally is exactly the same as the iPhone 12. There is nothing that phone can do that the iPhone 12 mini cannot. You wanna browse the web, you wanna stream things over 5G, you're gonna have the exact same experience, and the chip inside is just as capable. Though there is a hardware difference between the 12 mini and the 12 that is going to be something you're really going to want to pay very close attention to, and that is going to be the battery inside of the iPhone 12 mini. And before we get into battery life, let me say this. I cannot directly speak to battery life on the iPhone 12 mini because I don't have one. As much as I wish this screen would turn on, it's never going to turn on because this phone is just a dummy. But I do think there is a lot we can learn about the iPhone 12 mini's battery life thanks to what we know about the iPhone SE and the newer iPhone 12. Kind of taking some evidence from both of those phones gives us a kind of a good idea, I think, of what we can expect in terms of battery life on this smaller iPhone. And from what we've kind of been able to discern from some alleged FCC filings and some regulatory information, it seems like the iPhone 12 mini has a 2,227 milliamp hour battery inside, and here's kind of how that stacks up to what's inside the iPhone SE and the iPhone 12. Obviously, it's kind of right in the middle, a little bit more than the SE, but not nearly as much as what we're gonna have in the iPhone 12. So why is this important? Why does this even matter? Well, if we go back and look at the iPhone SE, you might remember that when that phone first launched, it was heavily criticized because of its poor battery life. It was a smaller battery with an A13 Bionic inside, an LCD display which isn't super efficient, and many people were complaining that the battery life on it just wasn't very good. You could get through a day, but just barely making it through a day, even with normal use because of some issues with battery. And a lot of people think the main issues, again, were the fact that it has an A13 Bionic inside, which is going to be a flagship processor that's going to require more power to operate, and an LCD display, which is not crazy inefficient, but not as efficient as an OLED. So many are hoping this year that Apple has fixed these issues with the iPhone 12 mini. Obviously, having an OLED on there is going to help with efficiency because it's not an LCD panel, and especially with an OLED, because it's only lighting the pixels that it needs at a given time, if you were to maybe set up black wallpaper, that could maybe help even more give you a little bit more battery life out of there as possible. But I think one of the bigger changes here is the A14 Bionic. It's a newer processor, it's smaller, Apple says it's going to be even more efficient, and I've got to imagine that Apple made both these products, the A14 and the 12 mini, with the other in mind. So Apple knew that they were going to be making a smaller iPhone, and that chip needed to be able to power that as efficient as possible. So I'm hoping that the A14 in conjunction with all the other internals inside of the 12 mini are all running together as smoothly and efficiently as possible to give you the best possible battery life out of that phone. Again, the battery is going to be small, so don't expect any miracles here, but I believe what we're gonna see with the 12 mini is a solid 1-day battery life. Maybe slightly a little more, though I really wouldn't count on it, but I don't think any less. I think you're gonna get a solid day out of this, just running it kind of with normal use off the charger, and it's gonna be good to go. I think it's gonna be better with the SE, but you're not going to get as good as you would get on an iPhone 12 or something larger. 5G is also a little bit of a concern. What we've seen from early testing with the 12 and the 12 Pro is that the longer you spend on 5G and the more the iPhone's connected to it, the faster it's going to drain the battery by about 20% is what we saw with the 12 and the 12 Pro. Obviously, you also have millimeter wave capability on the 12 mini, which is going to be great for faster speeds, but also is going to take even more of a chunk out of that battery life. So Apple is obviously trying to mitigate this with smart data mode. It's only going to put you on 5G when it deems necessary. But just another thing to keep in mind, if you do a lot of 5G video streaming, then that's going to continue to eat away at the little battery life that you do have. We're also learning MagSafe charges just a little bit slower on the iPhone 12 mini. 12 watts is the peak it can deliver versus the 15 watts on the other iPhone 12 models. Again, keep in mind that if you are someone who is a very heavy iPhone user, you watch a lot of videos, you stream a lot of content, you play a lot of games, you like to crank that screen brightness all the way up, you take a lot of photos and videos, you are going to suffer in terms of battery because the battery is just physically smaller in here. So I'd say that if you are someone who really hits their battery hard on their phones, you're gonna wanna go again with the 12 Pro, probably even more likely the 12 Pro Max, but it's just something to keep in mind in here. I don't think it's a deterrent for most people, but if you know you're a heavy battery user, then you might wanna stay away from the 12 mini. And again, coming back to our theme here of not making a lot of compromises, besides the battery and stuff like that, when it comes to camera, you're making some compromises, but really not that much. The 12 mini is going to have the same two lenses as the iPhone 12. You're gonna have an improved wide main shooter that's gonna be able to capture more light. It's gonna give you great looking photos and videos. And also the ultra wide, which is just fun, it's versatile, it's great to have. I think these are really the two lenses that most people are really going to care about. For the professionals and the enthusiasts, telephoto is going to be nice, along with some other upgrades you're gonna get as you go into the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max. Things like the LiDAR sensor, the ability to edit Apple Pro RAW, the ability to shoot Dolby Vision HDR up to 60 frames per second, though you can shoot it up to 30 frames per second of Dolby Vision HDR on the 12 mini. Those are things that you're gonna get on the Pro phones that you're not gonna get on the 12 mini. But again, I really don't think it's that big of a deal. For most people, this is all you're going to want. And the combination of the super nice OLED display with the nice new build and the new design language and form factor, plus the two great cameras that are gonna give you great looking photos and videos, there's just a lot of reasons to really like the iPhone 12 mini. You're going to make some sacrifices in terms of the LiDAR scanner, some of the camera stuff, and the battery, but besides that, you're really not missing much on the iPhone 12 mini. And the more I talk about it, and as I kind of did my research in preparation for this video, the more I almost talked myself into this phone. I know a lot of people personally, including the producer of the Apple Circle channel, who typically would go for the Pro end phones, who would usually even go for the higher end Max version of the phones. This year he claims he's going mini, and I kind of understand why. The amount of things you give up for this smaller form factor, this almost perfect size iPhone, is really not that much. You're losing an extra lens, you're not getting as much RAM, there's some little things here and there, but it's really not that much. The battery is probably the biggest concern. It's gonna be something we're gonna have to keep a close eye on and really to test to see how well it's going to work kind of in day-to-day real life scenario, not in lab tests. But I think that I wouldn't be too concerned. What we're seeing right now and from the research that we've done, it seems promising. It's not gonna give you any miracles, but again, it's gonna be a very solid contender in terms of battery life for about 1 day of use. Of course, we're gonna have full coverage of the iPhone 12 mini coming soon with how it stacks up to the other iPhones in the lineup, what it's really like to live with during the day, and kind of putting it through its paces day to day. But in the meantime, I'm very excited. If the dreams of the iPhone 12 mini, if the promises become reality, I think this is gonna be the iPhone that many people are going to want to pick up because it's just too good to pass up. So now it's your turn. What do you guys think of the iPhone 12 mini? Is this the perfect iPhone size for you? Is this what you've been waiting all these years for? The rumored iPhone SE 2, this is what it was really supposed to be? Or are you passing up this and going with the 12 Pro, the 12, or the 12 Pro Max? Let us know in the comments down below. Are you gonna wait or are you gonna pass? We'd love to know your thoughts. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Robert Rosenfeld and I'll see ya in the next one.